This week's episode, guys, is absolutely incredible. I personally got so much out of it. We're talking mindset for real estate agents, specifically what you should say to sellers when you show up to a listing presentation. You're going to learn to say things in ways that no other agent is, and you're going to stick out like a pro, and you're going to stick out like somebody who really understands this game, and you're going to get a crap load of listings from it. You're going to learn how to talk to yourself so that if you're somebody who's new in the business, maybe you're intimidated, maybe you feel like you can't sell big, multi-million dollar properties because you haven't earned it yet or whatever the hell, you're going to learn how to change that. You're going to learn how to change your eating habits so that you can actually get in shape and have enough energy to fuel yourself through the day and be successful as a realtor. We're talking with Michael Bernoff, the author of Average Sucks, host of the Average Sucks podcast, and one of the world's foremost experts on NLP. And if you don't know what NLP is, neuro-linguistic programming, if you don't know what that is, you'll learn pretty quick. Basically, today is a masterclass on how to get your mind right, specifically to help you as a real estate agent crush the business. All right, guys, I'm here with Michael Bernoff. Welcome to the Massive Agent Podcast, my friend. How's it going?
I'm doing fantastic, Dustin. Thrilled to be here.
Absolutely. I'm thrilled to have you. You're somebody that I look up to for sure. Mindset is so important. And the way we think, the way we talk to ourselves is so important. And I'm still like in the infancy of learning how that all works. And I've seen big changes, just since I started being more aware and aware of things I say, how I say them. And so like, I know the sky is the limit. And so I'm really excited for this because there's so many real estate agents and loan officers that struggle in many different ways because of the way they think. They think it's some external thing, but usually it's, it all starts with the mind. So I'm so excited to have you here. Real quick, I introed you a little bit before.
I appreciate that.
Of course. How did you get to this point? Like, explain a little bit more about your career, what you do for a living, who you help, why you help them, all that good stuff. And then we'll jump into it.
I'll give the quick version for everybody. My background is I'm a lot like a lot of people listening right now. I grew up with an interesting situation. I'm a middle-class kid from a little place called Rockaway, New Jersey. And the reason I bring this up is I don't have this really grand story. Like I love it when you get on a podcast and go, oh my God, that guy was a Navy SEAL and he went on 9 tours of duty and he came back. You listen to that guy, he's great, right? And then there's the other people that they were left on a subway when they were 5. They were they figured out how to get through all that stuff. My story is I'm a person that the majority of my life I've wanted to figure out how to get places in life. I never had I had great parents. I love my parents, but they didn't have any tools other than work hard and be a great person. And when I first got into business for myself, I did what most people watching this, listening to this do. I took the advice from our parents, work hard, be a good person, and one day you'll get there. And I stumbled randomly across personal development. I'll tell that story if you ask later. And the light went on. I'm like, where has this been my entire life? So I'm a guy that's worked hard. The last 20 years, I've dedicated my life to understanding the deepest levels of psychology, the unconscious mind. I invented something called human interaction technology. I've worked with a few 100,000 human beings all over the world that we physically have worked with as clients of ours and, expressed our information to millions of people. But at the end of the day, we work with entrepreneurs. I own something called the Human Communications Institute, and we're obsessed with the idea that communication is the most underdeveloped and underutilized asset that we have as human beings to getting what you want, period. And that's it. So you want a great marriage, it's communication with yourself and how you think. You want a great relationship, it's communication. It's you want more money, it's communication influence. You want a better body, it's how do you have that relationship with food and your exercise. So everything in the world comes down to communication. It's just no classes are taught anywhere on earth on how to do it right. So we invented it.
I love that. And now that you mention it, in the context of communication, any top producer in any field, great communicators in one way or another. I mean, maybe they do it in their own unique version, cool, but they're very effective and great communicators, especially in real estate. They're not afraid to talk to people. They can communicate concisely. And, I assume they have some beliefs internally as well that fuel their success. And so let's start with this.
I've been an agent for 11 years. When I first started out, I didn't know a goddamn thing about anything, because what they teach you in the licensing course is garbage. It's like, how
Well,
many.
let's rephrase that right off the bat. Not to correct the host, but let me just help you real quick.
Please.
So everyone listening, this is mindset right now. So when you make a statement, here's how the unconscious mind works. It's literal as hell. So it's almost like the DeLorean going back in time. You said I knew nothing. You had limited knowledge on how to be successful. That's a better way to put it. Because why, unless you're trying to tell look at what I did, which you're not, you want to walk in. Because when I think of communication, and I'm going to give you the ADD back to go back and finish what you were saying.
Mm-hmm.
But this is the important stuff to understand. When we say, I don't know what I'm doing, I have limited information on how to be good at this. That is a better way to say it. This is where a lot of us go wrong. So when I say communication, here's what the top agents in the world do. They get in a fight with the husband and wife, just like we all do, but they don't let it bother them all day. They get told no on a deal. They have a lawsuit going on, but how they hold it in their brain doesn't bother them. So the type of communication I'm talking about is about 10% sales and selling people stuff, 90% how you hold everything in your head. So just to re-clarify, when you got started, you had limited information on how to be successful as an agent, correct?
Absolutely.
Isn't that more fun to say it that way?
It is.
Doesn't
yes.
it feel different?
Yes. I like that. I appreciate the clarification, because this is why you're on the show, Michael.
Yep.
Is for exactly this. Okay. So I had very limited information on how to be successful as an agent, did not yet understand the day-to-day, didn't understand, the business that I was actually selling or offering. And so I struggled a lot when I was talking with clients or potential clients. And I know a lot of people still struggle with listing presentations specifically, and that's a more competitive thing usually than, meeting with a buyer. But buyers usually don't interview 10 different agents. A lot of sellers will. So what are some of the things that somebody, whether they've been in the business for 20 years or they're brand spanking new or they're not even licensed yet, what do they need to know to go into those listing presentation situations and have the confidence, even if they don't quite understand the business yet? How do they start to win some of those? How can they perform better in those situations?
Yeah. So let's draw out a real scenario for people, because this will be really fun. So there are people listening to this right now that you've heard this before, and you've got 40 people on your team and you're about to take notes. I'm going to have all 40 of my people do that. I know who you are. And then there's others of you that are like, I've never been on one of these before. So what do they look like? So let's draw out the scenario. So is the appointment already set? There's my question.
Yes.
Okay, so this is not a conversation about how to prospect or how to cold call or how to knock on a door. This is literally Jane and Steve. They've owned this house for 22 years. They are in love with their home. When they bought it, you got to get in their head a little bit. This was going to be their prized possession, probably the most valuable asset they have, correct? Jim, their neighbor, said it's worth $963,000, correct?
Right.
Whether we get that or not, we don't know. They are certain it is the prettiest house in all of the neighborhood, correct?
Yes.
And they should get $7 million for it. This is their hard-earned money. So we've got to go in and have the mindset like, this person is about to change their identity. This is like sending a child off to college. It's bittersweet, it's exciting, and you've got to walk in and you've got to honor this person when you first walk in, because no one else is going to do that. So if you were listing with your wife this house, and you were to say, I'd sit down with you, and I've just got to say to you, so I looked up, Dustin, when you purchased this house, and this is important to say because you want to walk in and know what you're talking about, and I realized how intelligent it was that you bought this in 2011. Not everybody had the courage to buy then like you did. And I just got to commend you. That's why the value is there now. Here's the benefit of what happened. When is the last time somebody's gotten kudos for what they did financially? Let's talk about it. Never. So you're walking in and you're commending them in advance. Do a little homework. It's not easy. I can look up by public records when you bought your place, right?
Right.
So we're commending them right off the bat. The reason is this is human behavior. And then you're going to say, listen, I know you probably have a number in your head. I know you're super excited. I know we can write stuff down. Here's what I'm most excited about. Asking you a question. Do we want to make this as easy and fun as possible? Or would you like this to be stressful and hard? I just need to know which direction you want me to go. The reason I'm bringing this up is we're having fun with people. It is a stressful thing to do, selling a house, because where do you move? What do you do? So we're looking to get them to list with us. And then we want to tell them listing, and this is important to understand. Is this helpful what I'm sharing with you right now?
Completely.
Okay.
Yes.
Then
keep
you're going to
going.
want to say listing is about psychology. The reason is you're telling them, look, fool, you can't do it without me. And the reason you're saying listing is about psychology. It is impossible to sell a human being a home. We need to find what the triggers are to attract the appropriate people that will show up and be able to purchase this home at the dollar you want. So it's not just about listing, it's about understanding the innate psychology of who might buy a house like this. So let me ask you a question. When you moved in, Dustin, where were you at in your life? And let's pretend you lived in that house. Let's backtrack 8 years. Who were you 8 years ago, Dustin? And I'm telling you, not an agent on earth is saying what I'm saying. You will get, and the reason why is we've got to break their pattern, because here's what they're expecting. You to walk in and go, okay, how much do you want for it? Here's what I think we can get. I can get it listed and I could have it sold in the next 90 days. We're changing all of that. And you're coming across as the absolute expert. So 8 years ago when you bought this, what was going on in your head? What was going on in your life? And where were you and your wife at that point, Dustin? Play along with me.
My wife was 8 months pregnant.
Boom.
Okay. We needed to get out of the small apartment we were in.
Yep.
And we took what we can get. You know, that there weren't a lot of options. We took what we can get, but we've been fairly satisfied with it since.
Very good. So now your kids are 8 years older, correct?
Yes.
You have one kid or two?
Two.
Okay, you have two kids. You have an 8-year-old. So let me ask you, what you thought you had a lot of space, a little less space with two bigger kids, correct?
Completely.
So your house is perfect with people with younger children, correct?
Yes.
I'm going to keep that in mind while I'm looking. Boom. What I just did is showed you that I'm an expert and I know what I'm doing. A brand new agent can have this conversation. Am I talking real estate right now? Or am I talking about something that matters? How do you feel when I do this to you? Would you be upset if I sat down like this and started asking you these questions?
No, not at all.
Doesn't it make sense that I'm going to sell somebody the way that you bought?
Totally.
Okay, very good. So that's how I'd walk in. I would come in and break their pattern. The reason we have to break their pattern is the reason they're testing you against other agents. You want to make certain that you can prove to them that I can sell it. So you have to have a different shtick than they have. And I'll give you a little term. When you say a listing is all about psychology and understand what makes a human being purchase a home like this, when you throw that at people, that creates the gold, that creates the power.
Yeah. I'm thinking back to all the less than awesome listing presentations I did where I asked some questions, but it was just like, okay, cool. Let me get my questions out of the way because I was told to ask questions. Then let me just tell you all the shit. Right. And they weren't those questions. It was stuff about the house.
Yep.
It was stuff about,
you should know all of that walking in.
Yes.
You want to be so confident going, look, I don't need to get in square footage. I'm not wasting your time for that. Is there anything super exciting that you want to show me in this house that is absolutely incredible that you added? Because man, I'm going to highlight it because they're proud. They put a deck in. Like, listen, I don't know. I know where you live, where I live. I remember when I finally got my remodel done in my house, which was about 50% over budget, 6 months too late, hundreds of thousands of dollars more than I expected. Then my wife's like, hey, we got to do the pool. The pool's not cheap. I'm proud of the pool. So I want to show you my pool, what I'm proud of. I want to show you my synthetic skating rink on the side of the house. Even though the new people are going to rip the damn thing out and get rid of it, let me show it to you to play to my ego of what I'm proud of. No one is doing this in the land of listing right now. I'm telling you, except for your listeners who are going to make a lot of money.
I love that. I love that. There's also a lot of limiting beliefs that agents have in situations like that. So what are some of the things agents can do in situations where they themselves can feel more confident?
Yeah. So when they're walking into the appointment, here's the deal. If you've never done one of these before, you've got to walk in and you've got to understand you've done a lot of things in your life that you've never done before. So when I teach people, I take people at my events that have spent little things you never would think of. Like, so let's say you spent 35 years of your life since you were 10, so you're 45 now, let's just say a person, believing they couldn't hula hoop. And then 9 minutes later, they know how to hula hoop. They start thinking, what else do I know how to do? So you can't teach someone how to hula hoop by telling them to go hula hoop if they've never hula hooped before. So you can't teach someone how to do a listing appointment if they've never done a listing appointment before. But you have talked to people about things that are important to them. So we've got to walk in and go, got it. I'm about to walk in. I'm about to talk with these people about something that's super important to them, remind them how important they are in the situation, make it about them and take it off of. And the reason why it's important is it gives us context. All of us have done that. And you get the right version of you to walk from the car into the house. That's super important to think about. So like a limiting belief people might have is a limiting belief is like, well, what if they don't like me? Well, here's the question. What if they do? And let me tell you something. They are going to go with the person that makes them feel the most confident, not with the most confident person. Let's be really clear about that. They're not going to go with the most confident person. They're going to go with the one that makes them feel the most confident. So if you want to give me a scenario of what an agent's limiting belief would be, I can do an overcome on that very quickly.
Usually it's they just don't have the experience, or not the experience in that price range, like luxury homes. This is super common with agents, where usually they sell homes around the median home price, but let's say that that's 500K. And then they're like, well, I'm not a luxury agent. I can't go to that $1.5 million listing, or, you know, I'm a fish out of water in that situation. It's the same freaking thing. It's just a larger house.
It's still drywall. It's still 2x4s. It's still cement. It's still everything.
So I thought that way for the majority of my career. You know, I'm like, those are different types of agents. I didn't quite understand. And I know that the majority of the industry is like that. So let's roll with that one.
Yeah. See, when I train people how to get good at things. So if you have agents, you want to learn that if you talk about the thing that we're talking about, what happens is, this is influence. This is, see, just so we're clear, what I do and what the media does is the same thing. I just use mine for good. They do not usually do that. So we're they hire people like me just so you can understand the level of what I do. My colleagues work for those companies. I work for the entrepreneurs and the individuals. So instead of CNN, Fox, NBC, ABC, my people, I hang out with these guys. They just work for them. I get people over trauma. They build trauma. So what happens is, and why I'm sharing this with you right now, is when a human being wants to be good at something and you talk about the thing like their marriage or eating, and we talk about another subject, it helps. So I talk about this in my book. I spent 38 years of my life believing I couldn't do something, even though I could. I played hockey since I was 7 years old, and I believed I couldn't score goals because I played defense. I was strong. I was big. I'm 6'6". I just don't score goals. I can shoot harder than almost anybody. I can put it where I want it to go, but I don't shoot. And then one day I realized I was 40 years old playing in a men's league. And I go, wait a second. What are they doing that I'm not? You know what they're doing? They're putting the puck past the goalie. I'm just shooting to shoot, and they're actually putting it where they want it to go. And I'm like, I can do that. So I went out the next shift. And since then I've been scoring about 2 to 3 goals every single time I play, even this last Saturday when I played. The reason I'm saying that is we all have an identity, and we identify as an agent that does okay. The reason we're proud of that is because there was a time in our life that we had no sales. We had no deals. We never closed anything. So I want to really, really dig deep on this right now, the psychology of this. When you first got started, you're like, I've got to make a career out of this. So then you close the $300,000 house. You get your $9,000 commission, cut off. You $6,200 from the title company. You get Fidelity or Chicago sends you the check. You're like, I did it. And you're proud of you because you went from 0 to 6,200. And you're like going to sushi dinner, going to Mastro's, super pumped. Then you hear about this other thing people are doing called making $30,000 to $90,000 commissions. And you're wondering why you don't do that. And you're wondering, in order to make more money, you need to admit that what you're doing is okay, but it's not good enough. It falls into what I call your average. So if your average is a $6,000 or $9,000 commission, your average is 10 homes a year, 8 homes a year, whatever the number is, you've got to accept that it's okay that you have that average if that's what you want. But in order to get the life you want, you need to look in the mirror and go, I've done a very good job up till now. I've done very good with these $300,000 homes. I'm going to start with these, but not from scratch. I'm going to sell $1 million home from the position of a person that sells a $300,000 to $500,000 home, not as a new agent. It's because a lot of people think they're new at luxury. They're not new at luxury. They just haven't done it yet. And that's a different respect. So I'm just going to tell you, the biggest issue we have is we want to be so proud of our $300,000 to $500,000 sale. We think, is it not good enough? And I'm telling you, that's what goes on in people's heads.
It absolutely went on in my head for many years. And as you were describing that, I'm like, you're in my brain. Yep. When I started out, I was struggling financially dramatically.
Yes.
and made my first sale. It was like 160K. It was a condo. It was a short sale. I think after my team split and all the bullshit, I think I made like $1,100, but it was $1,100. Like I didn't have that before. And so then I started this slow increase up in price point a little bit as I gained some confidence that I actually knew what the hell I was doing in this business, but it was a slow growth, right? And I see so many other agents that slowly they'll go from 10 sales to 20
Yep.
or 20 sales to 28 rather than 20 to 200. So what's going on there?
Here's what's going on. I want to really go back in time with you right now. And this is, please hear this correctly, everybody, what I'm about to say. Please, this is not negative. You went from 0 to an $1,100 sale. I need you to go back in your head and be honest. What did you say to yourself when you got that check that day?
I was stoked. I was like,
there's your problem. And here's the problem. Your dopamine, your norepinephrine, your serotonin, your happy chemicals inside the body went off and go, holy moly, this is amazing. No different than going to having Carvel ice cream when I was a kid in New Jersey, which is a fancy ice cream cake. And not fancy, it's a $10 ice cream cake. This is the greatest thing in the world. When you say cheesecake is great, you make it orgasmic, right? Nobody does that to broccoli or the gym. They do that to things that are easy to get. So when you go, oh my God, I got $1,100 deal. I freaking did it. Look how great I am. Your brain goes, that's great. He feels he's great. All we have to do is produce more $1,100 to $1,500 to $900 deals, and he will feel great. So what's amazing is there's no greater high for the $3 million property. So you set your standard instead of saying, this is incredible. This is a great start. I'm proud of myself, but man, I've got more to do. Do you understand? You celebrated, which is great, which sent off all the signals, all of the power inside of your mind to produce more of that. So what it did is, Dustin, convince yourself this is your new average. You sell $300,000 homes, 168 or whatever it was. This is what you do. Go get it. You know who does this? Every human being on earth. When they make statements like this, you ever had anybody say, my wedding was the greatest day of my life?
All the time.
Yeah, you might as well get your divorce papers set, because guess what? It's the stupidest thing you can ever say. You expect your husband and wife to have an open bar every day, horse-drawn carriage, wedding, invite all your friends. And I'm really not teasing, because you should say, this has been one of the best days I've had up till now. Let's see what happens. Because then you got a husband and wife saying this, attempting to bring back that day again, which is impossible. So the $1,100 was a good start, but that's not a finalization. The problem is you set a cap that day, didn't you? You didn't even realize it.
No, I didn't even realize it. Okay, so you accept it, you show gratitude for it, but then I assume this is something conscious that you need to train yourself to do over time, right?
You need to realize what you're capable of. Like when a guy asked me years ago, how tall are you? I'm like, I'm 6'6". He goes, why don't you act like it? You play like you're 5'5". Your life. I'm like, I was ready to kill him, right? But he was right. I was living my life like a small person. I'm still maybe living 6'1" of my capacity. Like, what sport did you grow up watching when you were a kid?
Football.
Who'd you like? What team?
BYU.
Okay, I get it. Yeah. I respect that.
Yeah.
So, was there a quarterback or anything you admired?
Yeah, Ty Detmer.
Very good. Did you look up to Ty?
Yeah.
Anytime you look up to somebody, you put them on a pedestal and yourself on the ground. So what happens is when we admire people, we could say, God, they're good. Look how dedicated they are. If I chose to be dedicated, I probably could do something like that too. Freaking great they are. Good for them being dedicated. Not they're better than me. The problem is we consciously label things inside of our heads. This is how simple mindset is. It is when something occurs, how do we label it? How was that water? Yeah, it's okay. It is amazing. I love that water. Oh my God, it's incredible. You do that with your vodka. This is the best vodka. Oh my God, you talk about it for a month. Then you drink vodka all the time. So our brain is always looking to revalidate the way that you positioned what it is you just spoke about to give you more of it or less of it.
So what are some of the things that we can do, exercises or whatever, to start thinking this way more naturally?
I would look at your life as a whole and not be, and realize that you are capable of so much more than you're currently doing. Number one is to realize that we are always, this is not like, you don't make a list of 10 things you need to do. You don't have to set a goals of that you're going to do it. What you need to do is you need to call things for what they are. So a good question to ask an agent is like, where do you plan on winding up 10 years from now? You know what? I want to do this amount of money, make $1 million a year. Great. So if you want to make $1 million a year one day, how impressive is it what you did? When you say that was a great run, is it the best one you're ever going to do the rest of your life, or was it great up till now? So it's really understanding that whenever we make a statement about anything we're doing, our brain takes it literally. So I'll give you an example. Man, I loved spending time with John and Julie. Well, great. You better really love John and Julie, because your brain is going to look for you to hang out with John and Julie more. Like, it's going to do that all the time. When you say, I hate something, well, your brain's going to look for you to avoid it as much as possible. It doesn't mean you're going to avoid it, but it also means the intensity you put on it. So let's put it to a scenario. Let's get another scenario as an agent, and I'll teach you how to do this. Let's take it a little deeper.
Okay. Let's use the luxury one again,
Yep.
because so many agents are like, I can't do luxury. They get referred. So an agent gets referred to somebody that has a $1.5 million home. The most expensive home they've sold up to that point is $600,000. And so they show up nervous that thinking they can't do it or whatever, but they have the appointment.
Yep.
They show up at a luxury listing presentation, already feeling like they're, inadequate, fish out of water, right?
Everything is okay. So I'm going to ask you some crazy questions. Where do the most wealthy people live near you?
Holiday.
Okay, very good. So I want you to picture one of those compounds up there. They're not houses, they're compounds, correct?
They are, for sure.
Okay, I use the appropriate word, like a big ass compound, right? When you picture one, I want to ask you a question. Do you picture it out of your own eyes, or do you picture you near it?
Sometimes both.
Okay, well, give me if I said picture one of those compounds, what do you see you, or do you see it out of your own eyes?
No, I'm seeing it out of my own eyes.
Okay. Which is called first person. Now I want you to point to where you see it in your head. Like, is it up high? Is it down low? Like, how do you picture one of those houses? I know where you picture it. In your head.
I don't even know how to answer that.
Well, let me put it a little different way.
Point to where I see
picture something that impresses you, we put it up here.
Okay.
This is why Joel Osteen on the weekends got the teleprompter up top, right? Because it's kind of not teleprompter, forgive me, the big screens up top, because we look up to it. So anytime in life we look at these big houses, in our brain immediately, we make them really, really big, literally in our mind.
Yeah.
And we see them on first person. So when I work with military folks, I'm going to stop as I explain this, because there's a point that I can discuss this and a point that I cannot discuss this anymore. When I work with military people that have a job to do things to defend the country, okay? Mm-hmm. And they have to do things that thankfully they do that we don't have to do to keep us safe.
Got it.
We train them to not see things in first person, because if they see it out of their own eyes, the decision that they made in that moment, it will live for them forever. But if they can have that same thing occur from a spotter perspective, from 10 feet away, where they're watching themselves pull a trigger, cause violence, whatever it is they're going to do, what happens is it's less intense. So when an agent is using the same technique, most of us, when we hear luxury home, we have this big, huge thing in the sky versus this thing in front of us. Number two is, if you could imagine yourself and see you in the picture walking in, like see the back of your head walking in versus out of your own eyes, it's just what you do. It's what you've done. But if you do it out of your own eyes, it's more real and it's more intimidating. So the reason I'm telling you that is how we hold it. So if you unfortunately get in a fight with somebody you love and you picture it out of your own eyes, your wife yelling at you, and you see her mouth and her face and her getting mad, you'll be bothered all day. But if you in your head can picture that there were two people fighting this morning and see you and her fighting and you could mute it out, it won't bother you that much. So it's how we hold the information inside of our head. Most agents are looking at this. So like when I work with UBS Financial as a client of ours, and they call people with money in motion that you want to talk about selling something. Bill just got 500 million for selling his Google stock. That lead was $1,000. They're picking up the phone going, hey, Bill, I'm one of 9,000 people calling you. I teach them to call them like they're Smurfs. Like they're these little teeny people they're calling, because if you put the guy on a pedestal, you'll be intimidated by him. But they call this little blue character and they're talking to them, and it's a lot less scary. As silly as that is how you change your perspective.
So these are things that we need to do consciously, right? How can you let's talk about that a little more. What are some
Yep.
things that we can do to change our conscious thoughts in those situations? And then how can we make them subconscious? How can we make them just like how we think?
There's three things that control our communication. Number one is the language we use. I always start there. Am I saying this in the most empowering way that I could say this to myself? When I said I'm not good at things, horrible thing. It's not that I don't sell luxury homes. Currently, I have not sold one yet. With the YET at the end, it changes your context. So when your friend calls you and says, I got a $3 million home, you could say, fantastic. I have not sold one yet. I'm excited about getting good at that. Number one, change language. So if communication was a center circle, language is an offshoot. Number two is patterns. We all have patterns. And one of the patterns we have is that we tend to be good at doing the thing we're good at and not at the thing we're not good at. So you could really identify it and go, I have a pattern. And one of the patterns I have is I do this, but I don't do that. So addressing one of the patterns. So you're sending fear, doubt, and confusion to help you stay who you are. So you've got to recognize it. Got it. I'm not scared of that house. I'm not scared of the appointment. My unconscious mind is playing a game with me to get me to do what I originally told it to do. So it's addressing and understanding the pattern, no different than getting sober. I've helped thousands of people get sober off drugs, alcohol, everything, you name it. The last one is your state of mind, and how you stand or sit to make the decisions you need change everything. So most people, you get a phone call, hey, do you want to sell this $3 million house? You're sitting down. I recommend changing your state, whether it's standing up or shifting, shifts everything. So these are some basic things that we can do, because those are three things you can change very quickly. You can change your language, you can change your patterns, and you can change your state of mind. So that's my big takeaway for everyone is, first, check your language. You probably could fix it in there. I know I'm not giving you an exact answer because it's always different each time. There is not a one-stop hack. There is always a greater way to say that what you said than the way you said it. Marketing to yourself is the highest art that we need to get great at.
I love the way you put that. So as you're doing these things consciously and we become more aware of the thoughts we have, the things we say to ourselves and all that,
Yep.
and we start to make the corrections, are we then training ourselves so that eventually they start to become just the way we think subconsciously?
So here's how automatic programs come from. So 11 years ago, there was a guy named Dustin that said, I'm sick of being this way. Were you with your wife back then?
Dating.
Okay.
Yeah.
I got this girl. I like her. I'm broke. I'm not where I want to be financially. I've got to figure this out. I'm pissed off. I'm done. So what happened is you built a wall behind you. I talk about this in my book, and you said never again. So within a given time, if you really mean never again, you will quit drinking. You will quit overeating. You will get to the gym. And in that moment, you said, but here's what I want. I want to be rich and powerful and famous. You didn't say I'm actually going to get it. You just chose to want it, because your brain immediately says, when I say never again, your brain says, but what do you want? Which immediately forms your identity. Then there's this guy, Dustin, walking through the earth going, I refuse to go there. I'm working towards there. And you're bouncing your head between a series of walls. Yeah. It's one day I'll get rich, but I won't go broke. And people, you flip your ID out like you're going to a club. Who am I? I'm Dustin. How do you identify? I identify as a person that's one day going to get what I want, that it's avoiding being broke. Great. I'm glad you identify that way. Okay. And then you request and require the people in your life. So are you still with the same company you were with back then?
No.
Okay. Well, you needed those people. You had your friends, your family, the people, and you build this wall of people in your life to encourage, piss you off, make you happy, get you excited, and help keep you in this box. So when your life changes, when a new automatic program starts, is when you change your pattern, you get very emotional about what it is you matter and use the language correctly. And you say, never again. You look in the mirror and go, got it. Last month, I sold 10 houses. Fantastic. I'm proud of myself, but I will never do that again, because that is not enough what I'm capable of. I'm going to get to 12. And what's amazing is when you do that and you say never again, your brain builds your automatic program. This is what all of us have done. We did this at one point in our life. We said never again, and we've been living off a program that's 5, 10, 15, 20 years old. So that is how things automatically change. We actually have to put a stick in the ground and say, you know what, this is not what I do anymore, and actually mean it.
So we're almost battling ourselves or constantly correcting ourselves over time, retraining ourselves. How would you describe that?
What you do now was good for yesterday. And I think a lot of us don't realize that you're only giving yourself yesterday's results. Your capabilities today are 10,000 times greater, but you're acting like you're 9 years old still. Most of us are. And we're acting like we're 15. Like I remember, when I was a kid, I was shy, and I would take 15 breaths to walk into someone's house for a party I've never been to. I don't know if you've ever done that before. Like, I was a very insecure kid.
Sure.
And then I'm 30 and have that same feeling. I'm not 9 anymore. So a lot of us have to recognize, like, I guess here's a better question. If you're an agent that sold 20 houses or 30 houses in your life, if you're newer, right, and you've been at it 3, 4, 5 years, that's a pretty good career. It's decent, right?
Mhm.
So what happens is we say to ourselves, we want to do these things. Then we've got to ask ourselves an interesting question. What would the person that I am now do? Not what did I want before? What can this person do now? Like, I'll ask you, Dustin, how long you been in business?
11 years.
Okay. You sold a few houses.
Mhm.
Okay. You've done well. You've got people all over the world that listen to you. You're married. You got kids. You're happy. What can this guy do? When's the last time you've checked in with this guy and asked this guy what he could do?
Which guy?
You, who you are now.
It's a very good question. I can't say I've thought of it that way.
Well, let me ask you a question. Like, are you farther along than you used to be?
Yes.
Did you write your plan back then?
Somewhat.
So, like, what I mean by that is, have you ever looked in the mirror and go, God, I got a podcast that the industry listens to. I've got an incredible team. I've sold a ton of properties. I've made a lot of money doing this. I got a great wife, every reason to do well. What can this guy do? Have you ever made a plan from your current identity?
No.
You know who has? About nobody.
Right.
Most, you know who does these kind of things? People like professional fighters. Mike Tyson would do this. Does that make sense? Back in the day. What can I do now? And most of us think when we have a new plan, we've got to start over. What can the guy with your current skill sets and what you've done in life, what can that guy do? And that guy will do the luxury appointment if you were the agent that couldn't do it.
Ooh, I love that. I love that. Goals. What
Yes.
what is the correct way, the best way to set goals?
I don't do them. I do outcomes because I'm an NLP guy, right? So I do outcomes, not goals, on purpose, right? So
Sure.
I don't believe in goals because I think most people get turned on by their goals, and it's like a 1-900 number. They're like, they love it. Like, they're like, oh,
Yeah.
look at me. I got a dream board. Look, I'm going to take my kids to Disney. I'm going to get a private jet. And they're so turned on by the idea of what they want that the idea of it is as exciting. What I like to talk about is about a minute. What do I want? So I would say, like, you would tell me what you want, and you'd say, I want a team of 2,000 people, right? 3,000 people. I want this amount of overrides. I want this many houses sold. You take like 10 minutes writing down what you want. And then you've got to ask a different question. And the question is, what skills would be required to develop what it is that you want? And that's an interesting question. And it's like, okay, you know what? I'm going to have to get good at people. I'm going to have to become more influential. I'm going to have to get good at delegating. Great. And then your goals become your skills, not your actual things that you want. So once you develop the skills, then you can choose whether or not that you want it. But let's just say you're not a decisive person and you want to be a millionaire. Are you ever going to become a millionaire?
No.
So what is your goal then? To become what?
More decisive.
Well, nobody talks this way. So I
Right.
teach people, like, during our challenges, I always tell everybody, your goal eventually is to develop the skills to be the person that could just walk into the store of goals and just go purchase what it is that you want. So everyone I know that has the things they want, they've developed into the person they need to be. So development is your goal. Like Jim Rohn up there was my earliest mentor. Jim Rohn was, I don't know if you ever heard of Jim Rohn, but he's
Absolutely.
the original personal development guy. And he was like my father figure. There's the picture of Jim and I up top. And he was like my father figure in personal development from a very young age. And he always said success is something you attract by the person you become. So we want a goal to have a custom tailor, right? But the person that has a custom tailor has money. Who's the person that has money? People that can make quick decisions. What am I not good at? Making quick decisions. What are we going to work on for the next 30, 60, 90 days? Making quick decisions. This is what I do with goals.
I've also heard that I've heard a few different ways of stating, like you state, I am this.
Yep.
Or, elaborate on that a little bit.
Your brain kicks all that out. Those are affirmations. Your brain kicks all that out. So if you say I'm happy and you're not, your brain calls bullshit. What you do need to say is we have to realize that we're farther along than we think we are. So if you say I'm broke, not true. You could say financially, I do not have the money that I'd like. I got some assets, but I'm not where I want to be. So when you say I'm rich, I'm happy, I like to call Prozac and go, I got a buyer here. Like I got a person. If they're saying I am this and I am that, it's better than being negative, but your unconscious mind goes, he's playing a game. They don't believe it.
Interesting. Okay. That makes a lot of sense.
From my experience. And the reason is,
right.
If you said I am the greatest race car driver in the world, now granted, I will be the best at this, and you really get yourself to believe it, that's fantastic. You'll do it. But if you don't believe it and you say it, it depends what state of mind you're in.
Good point. Okay, that makes sense. There's a lot. This is not just a real estate agent thing, but I know personally for a long time, as I'm working, doing the business, I let my health go. I ate just whatever garbage food that I could get, and looked like shit, felt like shit. And there's a lot of agents out there that don't exercise, they don't eat right because they're busy, right? Talk through that a little bit. How can they fix that?
So I got two ways to fix that. Let's talk about exercise real quick. What was your original reason for exercising? Like when you were young, when you first picked up weights?
To be a better football player, to be bigger so that I can, be a better.
So you can harm people, right?
More or less.
Yeah. So let's get real. And did you do it as a team?
Yes.
Okay. And odds are at 16 years old, you wanted to impress the opposite sex, correct?
Completely.
Okay, let's just get really real.
Yeah.
So you and I are a lot alike. So I worked out to play hockey when I was a kid because I wanted to harm you, because I wanted to hit you, impress the girls. I wanted to be part of the team, and I wanted to feel good about myself, right? So
absolutely.
Here I am, 32 years old, not now, not able to work out or thinking I could. And I'm like, got it. What was my original reason for working out? This is interesting psychology I'm going to teach you. And it was to impress women. It was to be part of a team, to harm people. And then I'm like, I'm 32. If I harm you and hit you, I go to jail permanently, even in my rec league, right?
Yes.
Impressing women and being married don't go together. Don't do that, right? Number 3, I'm not on a team anymore. So then I realized the word workout in my brain was something that I calibrated for a series of years attached to those things. So then I started training. And I realized that when I use the word train, my brain goes, what does that mean? I go, what would you like it to mean? So I started training for Spartan races, right? And I started training, and my brain had no trouble training, horrible time working out. So I refuse to work out to this day. I train. So this is the thing we've got to recognize. What was your original reason for going to real estate? Well, it was to get by and make money. 3 years later, what are you doing? You're getting by and making money. So our brains attached to our initial reason, we need to recalibrate. Now let's talk about food. Did I ever teach you about my food thing that helps everybody lose about 7 pounds in the next 2 weeks and eat crap, but still change your diet? Would you love this?
Yeah. Tell me about that.
So this is nuts. So I didn't ask you about drinking shakes?
Mm-mm.
Okay. You ever drink shakes?
No.
Okay. Nobody should ever.
I have protein shakes every now and then. Yeah.
You should never drink a shake ever the rest of your life. Here's why.
Okay.
You need to chew a shake. And here's why. When you drink it, it goes down into your body, sits in your stomach, and then you know where it goes next, right? It just goes gone, right?
Yeah.
When you chew it, your brain sends a signal of what it is you're eating, tells the appropriate enzymes to go to your stomach. This is not why I'm teaching you this, because your brain then knows what it's actually made up of. So when we use the term food, we use it loosely, just like real estate. We use it loosely. There's investing, there's listing, there's selling, there's properties, there's losing on properties, there's short sales. There's a million different things. We use the word real estate as a term. So food is a relationship. Success is a relationship. And I always tell you, it's like dating. If you're going to put it in your body for the next 10 years, you probably should know where it's from and what its intentions are with you. It's like dating. Someone's coming over to date your daughter. You better ask questions. What are your intentions? What are you doing with this, right? So what I learned is food is 3 categories: nutrition, entertainment, and addiction. And the reason I bring this up to you right now is most people don't talk to their food. You should probably ask it what its name is. Are you nutrition? What's nutrition? Steamed broccoli, a salad with no dressing, intelligent protein with no sauce on it. You know where I'm going with this.
Mm-hmm.
Entertainment is a very nice sushi dinner, right? Addiction is you're at the movie theater and you had 1 bag of popcorn already. You're going back for second bag, right? That's addiction.
Yeah.
So
for me, it's donuts.
Donuts is like every title company brings donuts to the meeting. I don't know why, but they do that, right? So what you want to do is when you sit down with your food, you got to go real quick. Takes 3 seconds. So what's your name? And be honest. You had a Subway sandwich for lunch or Jersey Mike's. You know what you say to yourself? Entertainment. You went out to dinner with friends and happy hour. Entertainment. Oatmeal for breakfast. That's nutrition, right? If you don't put any crap on it, a bunch of sugar. Add sugar, entertainment. The second your brain knows what you did, it knows you're doing what's not best for it. The problem is you've confused it and you've said, look here, look here, look here, look here. The second you get clear with it, it changes. So we're at Disney a couple of years ago with my 5-year-old. Have you been to Disneyland?
Yeah.
So we're at Disney, all entertainment, churros, healthy food, salads, the park, still entertainment. It's food poisoning, eating at a restaurant. So we go entertainment, entertainment, entertainment. And then like 3 days in, we're at downtown Disney with my 5-year-old Maya at the time, right? She's 9 now. And she goes, Daddy, can we get a salad? I said, okay, why? Because we're having pizza. And she goes, because I feel like we've had a lot of junk. I never taught her this. The body wants to reset. So all you've got to do is call it what it is. So like if for lunch today, you have a salad, congratulations, nutrition. If you keep on saying entertainment, addiction, or I'm going out and getting drunk tonight. I don't drink anymore, but I'd say I'm going out and getting drunk tonight. I'm going to say to myself, you know what tonight I'm going to do? I'm going to torture my body. I'm going to have some addiction. Let's see what happens. Call it what it is. Stop pretending it's something it's not. So those are two very, very simple things. So as agents, the reason you don't work out is workout means something that you say you're going to do that you don't do. Start training to have energy to build a great business, and you will be amazed how you will find times to do things. Number 3 is very simple. And forgive me, I'm just throwing a bunch of hacks at you. It's hard to make decisions, isn't it?
No.
For you, but most people, do they have trouble making new decisions?
Oh, yes.
So what you want to do is use your decisions wisely. I would say, you know what? I'm going to decide to work out for the next 2 days. The reason I do this is because your brain's never heard that before. The brain always says, I'll work out the rest of my life, or your brain says, I'll do it tomorrow. Both your brain's thrown out as a loss. When you say, I'm going to exercise for the next 2 days, your brain goes, we can do that. And on day 2, you could do 2 more days. It's a hack. And you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to cold call for 2 days. That's it. Just 2, not every day, 2 days. And if I like it after 2 days, I'll do it again. I always tell everyone to start with 2.
I love that. I've done a version of that too, where it's like, okay, you just have to go to the gym today. Like just get it done today. Like just work out once. And then
do
tomorrow.
it twice because your brain's never heard it before. Anytime a new neural pathway comes in, you know what I'd like when someone calls you and you're like, how long is this going to take? Probably about 17 minutes. There's no pattern for that. It's weird. If you say 20 or 3 or 5 or 6, they've heard that, but they've never heard 17.
Good
and
point.
They don't know what to do, and they'll give you the time.
I love it. I could talk to you for another 3 hours. This is amazing.
Maybe 3. But you and I will talk offline about the people listening, how to help them more.
Absolutely. I want to be courteous of your time. Let's wrap this thing up though. Every time we have a guest on, we do these rapid fire questions. Yep. They're either or questions. You don't need to elaborate unless you want to, yep. But let's go through those, and then we'll give you a chance to let everyone know where they can find you and hear more about what you do and what you offer. And I mean, first off, thank you. I think this was an amazing.
Thank you for having me. It was an honor. I felt like I just kept on. I felt like I kept on talking because I'm like, we could do this for days. I forgot it was 45 minutes.
That was intentional. I wanted you to keep talking. It's good shit.
Love it.
So cool. Rapid fire, Facebook or Instagram?
Facebook and neither, but I'll never mind. Facebook.
Okay. Facebook or LinkedIn?
Facebook.
Books or podcasts?
Books.
Books or audiobooks?
Books.
iPhone or Android?
iPhone.
Alexa or Google Home?
Alexa.
Burgers or pizza?
Pizza.
New York or LA?
New York.
NFL or NBA?
Neither. But if I had to pick, NFL.
There's a lot of people saying don't care about any.
I'm a hockey guy.
Right. Okay. Who's your team?
New York Rangers.
Okay. Nice. Not the Islanders.
No.
I forgot they were a team literally for like
until
years.
Until they're in the playoffs now. Yeah. And then I had to remember.
Are they in the playoffs?
They're doing very well. Yeah. I have to I told my friend Vinny the other day, I said, I'm happy for your team, but I wish mine was there. Yeah.
That's why they showed up in my news feed. I was like, oh, the Islanders. I forgot all about them. That's why. Interesting. Hockey or football?
Hockey.
Okay. So just hockey. Mountains or beach?
Beach.
Podcasts or vlogs?
Podcasts.
YouTube or Facebook Live?
Facebook Live.
This is a real estate question, but I'll ask you anyways. Rich Dad, Poor Dad, or Millionaire Real Estate Agent?
Rich Dad, Poor Dad.
Uber or Lyft?
Uber.
Gary Vee or Grant Cardone?
Gary Vee.
And what's the most impactful book you've ever read?
I've read a lot of books. No one's going to find that one. So I'm going to give you another one. Games People Play.
Games People Play. Cool.
You're never going to hear that from anybody. It is the psychology of what makes people do what they do.
Ooh, I like that. And Michael, where can people find you? Where can they learn more about you and follow you and
Yep.
learn
Two
more
things.
from you?
Get my book, Average Sucks. You can get Average Sucks on averagesucks.com. You can get on Barnes & Nobles or Amazon or whatever, but averagesucks.com. We give you a big bonus if you get the book through us. And I like working with people. So if you liked what you heard here today and you want to work on your mind, I'll do this for your group. We've got averagesucks.com/challenge. It's 5 days live with me. Kick your butt, hold your hand. I've only worked with, 50,000 agents and mortgage people over the world and small business owners. So I've got your back. I already know what it is. It's in your way. So if you're making just averagesucks.com/challenge, invest about 10 hours with me. And I guarantee you'll get more done in 5 days than you have in 5 months. You may not love every minute of it, but you will come out a better person and we'll have a lot of fun together. I'll tell you that much.
Love it. And we'll link to that in the show notes if you're listening, in the description if you're watching on YouTube, along with all of Michael's social media and website links and everything like that. Michael, thank you so much, man. I think this was great.
Appreciate it, man. This is fantastic. I really enjoyed this. And any way I can ever help, let me know.
Appreciate it, man. We'll talk to you soon.
Thank you.